podcast, season 3. She inspires us. I am beyond delighted to have this person as a special guest in today's podcast because she is definitely somebody that inspires us. She drove all the way from Kingsville to be with us in the studio and record with us today. Miss Jennifer Lawson, how do you feel for being with us today?
I'm very excited. I really like being able to help anybody I can, and I have a very unique story, and I'm ready to tell.
Yes, Jen. So I remember the very first time that I met you. You were actually a beauty, one of our clients. We were celebrating one of our photo shoots. I believe it was during COVID, was it?
Yes.
It was during COVID, and the theme of that photo shoot was Scars to Your Beautiful. I remember that, you were recording because what we did was we gifted a video shoot where you got to share your scars, right? You got to share your story. And I overheard her voice. I overheard her story. And I said, wow, who is she? And, you made it to the top 10 transformations inside of that photo shoot. And, since then, you not only transformed your body, but, through the time, you eventually became a coach. And look at you. You are here with us right now, sharing your story in our podcast. So tell us, Jen, who are you? How did Team Beauty find you? And then we'll dive into the topic.
So the way I found Team Beauty and Herbalife, it was actually when I had to take my son to school for the very first time. This meant I was completely alone for the first time since my accident, which for y'all listening, I was involved in a house fire. I'm going to cry. I lost my 6-year-old daughter, my 7-year-old son, and my husband. I was able to save my son. He was 2 at the time. He is now 8, a very smart boy. He keeps me going. He loves playing sports. He's everything that I miss from both of my 2 in him, plus he has his own personality. I do this with him. Once I started, I found a community that really saw me, not my scars. And that's why that first challenge was actually the challenge I said, yes, I want to do it. Because there's actually a song called Scars to Your Beautiful. Mm-hmm. That was the very first song, and not many people know this, but that was the very first song I heard leaving the hospital when I got into my mom's truck. The words to that song kind of reassured me that I was going to be okay. And I was actually going to the other hospital across San Antonio where my son actually was. We weren't in the same hospital for 3 weeks. So during that time, I really had to push. I wasn't able to walk. And they said, if you wanted to see your son, you had to learn how to walk. I forced myself to learn in 4 hours because I knew where I wanted to be and it wasn't there. No matter what, I wanted to be with him. And when I got to do that photo shoot, just the name, everything about it spoke to me. When I got to get down here to do the pictures, this was the first time that somebody asked me, well, what are you most proud of? I was wearing a sleeveless jumpsuit like I'm wearing a sleeveless dress now. And the first thing that came out was, I'm proud of my arms. That was the first time I actually showed my scars to anybody. And it's just been downhill from there. I love every moment of it.
You mentioned that you were a part of a house fire. That was how long ago?
It was in 2017. So this past year, actually March 31st was 6 years.
6 years since. And
yes.
So tell me, how was the house fire? Like, how was that? Like, was it in the morning and the night? Give me a little bit of what happened.
So all I know is I remember waking up. And it was very hazy. So about from where you are from me was the TV. And I could barely see the screen, so I knew something was wrong. Once I finally talked to everybody after I found out it was around 12:30 in the morning, so it was in the middle of the night. I ran downstairs and I saw the glow off the windows, so I knew where it was coming from, and me and all my kids were upstairs. So I tried my hardest, knew what I had to do. I still fight with that today because it's one of those things you always ask yourself, could I have done more? Did I do enough that day? But I know God has a plan, and no matter what he wants, he put me in that situation, and I was able to do what I did that night for a reason. And I can't change what he wants for my life. So I just choose to move on with and just be blessed that I was able to save at least one of my kids.
And that night, so you ended up going to the hospital with one of your kids.
Yes, and he was 2 at the time.
And your other children?
They did pass in the house. They were still upstairs.
How old were they?
My daughter was 6 and my son was 7.
And so this is so hard.
Yes.
I could not even imagine, what that moment could be. And you are so strong. You are so courageous. You are so you're a superhero, because just being able to stand here and share that with us, says a lot about your strength and who you are as a woman. And so from that moment, Jen, to you deciding to come out in the world, I need to get up, I need to do something. How long did it take?
Honestly, my son was 2 when it happened. They start school when they're 4. Mm-hmm. For about those first 2 years, it was hard to go out because everyone looked at the physical difference. They weren't looking at me in my eyes anymore.
For people who can't see you, what is that? What were they looking at?
My arms. So my right arm is pretty much burnt all the way. My left arm is just the top, and I actually have a big old scar on my right leg, and then my left leg is where they took all the extra skin to be able to give me the skin grafts I needed. My face was burnt at the time, and if you can't imagine me, I was completely bald. I looked like my brother, and that I remember being in the hospital. They showed me a picture, and that was one of the first things. I was like, oh no, I look like my brother. And I was like, okay, this is what we're dealing with. But that's all people would see. They didn't take the time to look at me in the eyes, didn't take the time to conversate with me that way. It was just looking and the whispering, and it's where I shut myself in, and I decided I didn't want to go out anymore, and I stayed inside. I wouldn't even go outside because, one, the sun hurt. It hurt so much. I would be covered. I would have to wear sunglasses, this big old hat, an umbrella, and it was just, to me, it made it more people are going to be looking at me because of that. So I made the choice to stay home all the time. And
when you decided to come out was because your son had to start school.
Yes.
And what was that like? And that's how you found us?
Yes.
So tell me that day, what was that day like for you? What were you telling yourself?
First day of school. I was so nervous. I dropped him off and I immediately was like, no, I'm not even going to leave. I just want to pick him up. I wanted to take him out. But I knew that this is something we both needed because we were so stuck together and attached. It's something he needed as a little boy to be able to experience other kids, other people out there. So I let him go. Then I went to go pay some bills for my mom. I was like, you know what? I'll do it this time. And I slowly started to see flyers for Nutrition Club. The small town that I'm from, I was like, okay, nutrition, there's nothing like that here in Kingsville. So I was interested. By the time I made it to this nutrition club, I collected 54 flyers. And I still have them to this day.
What?
Yes. I was so nervous to go. But I still have
you would
flyers.
Collect them. What
Everywhere.
would you do with
them? I don't know. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go today. And then the next time, I'm going to go today. And I would pick up one every time. But I kept those as a reminder because the day that I actually went, one, I yelled at the barista. So sorry for her, but hey, I still signed up underneath her. I yelled at her because she actually mentioned the town where I'm from, where the fire happened. And that right there, she knew I needed the help because of the way I reacted to a word. I didn't know it at the time. And the reason I stuck around is because she had a small facility. It took me maybe 10 steps to get to my car from her door. By the time I opened my car door, she had already texted me. And I remember that text, and I'm very grateful for that text.
What did that text say?
She messaged me and she goes, I know you don't know me and you don't need to text or respond back, but I want you to know that I'm here if you ever need somebody to talk to. I wasn't hearing those words from my supposed friends that were there for me, from family members, and for a stranger who I just yelled at to reach out to me that quickly. I knew there was something different about this place. And that was the start and not even the stop of me going. I remember telling her after going for like 2 weeks, I would sit there because my son was at school and I didn't want to sit at home. I'd sit in her nutrition club for pretty much 8 hours a day. I was like, you can make me go home. Just tell me to leave. I promise I'll leave. But she let me stay there and I got to know her on a different level. I've been able to meet so many people in there and she helped bring me out of my shell to be able to go out to places again because I wasn't being judged there. I was being heard and they were letting me talk and just talk about whatever I wanted to. And that's something that I was needing at the time.
And so what were the results? I mean, what were the results of that first challenge that you got?
That first challenge, I actually lost 35 pounds and I loved it. I really did because I thought because of my scars, I wasn't going to be able to do certain things. But I was working out again. I was using my arms in a way I never thought I could. And being able to do the same exercises they were without the modification, that was a big step for me. Because I remember coming home, I made my bed. I put my fitted sheet on by myself about 2.5 months after being home. I had been struggling to do it by myself. I couldn't do it. My arms weren't strong enough. And I would cry and I would just sit there and I thought I wasn't able to do anything normal again. So Team Beauty has helped me feel that normalcy. It has brought me back and made me realize that I can do this. That no matter what our circumstances are, there's always a way to feel included. And that's exactly what Team Beauty has done for me. It's made me feel beautiful again and made me feel like that woman that I was not going to be.
I have a knot in my throat. And you're so powerful. You're just so powerful. For those of us listening, it's like her house burns down and loses 2 kids and her husband. And you had to obviously try and get strong and heal over time. Took 2 years of being alone, of feeling all of these things that you're sharing. And then you come into a nutrition club after 54 coupons. And I just have to recap because, you have to grasp this as a woman. I feel, Jen, that there's so many times where we compare ourselves. Maybe we see other people's happiness. We see other people's lives. And you're like, oh, and you truly don't know what they've had to go through to be where they are today. Yes. And your story, it's being able to, number one, recover from the loss of 3 people that you love so much and decide that, like, I have to get up. I have to come out. Number 2, your body is scarred for life. Your arms, your face, your hair was lost. I mean, it's like you might think, when am I ever going to be normal again? Like you're sharing, like on top of the loss, you're going through these self-esteem, mental issues, and you being able to overcome and come above that. it speaks so much. And so what is it, on a daily that you feel that, you say, this is what truly made me who I am today. Like, this is what keeps me strong. This is what keeps me going. Because surely I think it people suffer loss in so many different ways, right?
Yes.
And it's all the same because it's pain, right? And so what could you share to the listeners about, what is Jen have been doing? Like, how did Teen Beauty not only become something that was like a weight loss result, right? To how it turned your mindset around, or how you heal, how you lift your spirit to be like, it's a new day. I need to keep on going. So what does that process look like for you?
For me now, I always have to look at my son. I do. Because he has the same physical scars I do on his left arm and then on his side. Like, it's very intriguing and it kind of warms my heart, but you can see where my arms were wrapped around him. Those are the flash burns he has, and then his side of what I couldn't cover. Mm-hmm. So when I look at him and how resilient he is, he just, oh yeah, this is what happens if you touch fire. And don't play with that because of this. The way he's so okay with it, mm-hmm. and so open about it, he actually helped me first. He was telling all the kids in his class, if they would ask a question, why does your mom have this? Oh, I have it too. And he would explain. And when I saw it for myself, I was like, you know what? I can do this too. Mm-hmm. And I had to realize it was not okay for him to lose 2 parents when he only lost 1. Mm. So I finally just kept telling myself in the mirror, I am strong. I will not fail. Mm. And that meant so much to me. Like, if you actually look at my arm, I have it here. Because when I fix my hair daily, I can see it in the mirror. And that's something I repeat to myself every day. Because I know I'm strong. I know I won't fail. Mm-hmm. The only one that can fail this is me. And I know right now it's not in my power to fail. I can't. Mm-hmm. He depends on me. And hearing him tell me, and I still remember when y'all came off those pink backpacks, mm-hmm. I wanted it so bad. Just a little backstory. I don't even like pink, but I wanted that backpack so bad. And he would always ask me, Mom, what are you doing? I was like, hold on, I'm almost there. I just need this much more. He got out of school. My mom picked him up that day. And I was actually down here, I think. And Bree and Draco gave it to me. I held it up. I was like, look, Bub, I'm so proud of you, Mom. You wanted it and you did it. I'm so proud of you. That right there meant the world to me. He's seeing how much I am working and what I am doing for the both of us. And just his pride in me, when most times I don't have it myself, it really does show me that I am doing something good and I am doing something right. No matter what, we always have someone looking at us. And we have to realize we are the ones that are paving the way for them. Mm-hmm. And I want him to know that no matter what, no matter the circumstances he has handled, no matter what happens in his life, you can do it. Just put your mind to it, and just having that belief that no matter what, you're gonna do it, it'll happen. It doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it won't happen in 10 years. As long as you don't give up and keep pushing, I'm still learning and I'm still growing, but I know that I will get to that spot that I have. I know that I will get there, and I will make him proud no matter what. I still want to make my son and my daughter proud, and that's what I'm working towards every day.
What does that healing process look like for you? It's like, do you still get, flashbacks? Do you still, what is the healing look for you, and how do you fight it, every day to be able to come out on top and still fight for your life, for your son's life, and to continue being that example? What have you learned about yourself?
I've learned that no matter what, I am the only one who is completely in control of my life. There's still days where I have a dream, and when you wake up, it's like, I just want to go back to sleep to see if I can get that dream back. But then I have to be like, no, you need to get up. Laying in bed, I'm not going to make the life my son needs. I'm not going to meet my goals. When I go to work, it's listening to a song. A random song can pop on the radio, and I immediately think of my daughter or my son. I can see something. And the hardest part is when my son, he can smile a certain way, and it's my oldest son to a T. He can laugh a certain way, and it's my daughter. I would shut down on those days, but now I look at it as when I see him and he'll walk away, I just look up and I thank them for being there because I know they were with him in that moment. And I just tell them I love them. Thank you for visiting me, and I'm going to make you proud. I, no matter what, every day think of them. And I know that I will make them proud. I will do what I have to do. And that is the biggest thing that keeps me going, because I am meant to be somebody. I'm not just that girl that survived with her son. I'm not just my circumstances. I am that girl who, yes, this happened, but she did this for her son no matter what. She worked her butt off no matter what to get to where she's at. And that's what I have to tell myself every day. My mom was a single mom, and I watched her work and work and work. But some way, she was always there. She was always at a basketball game, always somewhere. And she was an RN who worked at the hospital and went to college at the same time. But I never remember thinking back to a game that she wasn't at. And so I always think back to that my mom did it, I can too. No matter what I go through, I can, and I will. That's just it. I can and I will.
What do you love more about, the community that you've been able to build now that, you were a customer, you got results, you've been able to gain and create this confidence, find the support. What is it inside of this that you look forward to? Because now that you're a coach, right? Like, how did you make that decision? What do you look forward to every day to continue to build your Team Beauty community?
What I first loved about it was it was actually not actually coming into Team Beauty at first. It was just being around Herbalife in general. I went to my first event, which was JKO. They don't tell you how much you're going to cry at these events. I was ugly crying that day. That's one thing I remember. But I remember walking in and, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. Come take a picture. And at first I was confused. I was like, why are they talking to me? I went into my little bubble again. But then I realized everyone genuinely has a love for each other. They're so happy to see each other. They look at you face to face, eye contact, everything. They're not judging you, looking you up and down. And then I joined Team Beauty, and it was like, oh, this is only women. I had been scared of women since I was in high school. Women can be mean. They really can. And it was the women encouraging each other. It was them cheering each other on to do one more push-up, do one more squat, losing 1 pound. And everybody's so excited for you. When you yourself, you're like, it's just a pound. They're like, no, but think about when you started. And I really liked that aspect because I've seen my mom and my older sisters, they've struggled and they'd always get so down on themselves. Here you see so many different women, so much diversity, and everybody is there for each other. And that's when I decided, I wanted my mom and my sisters to be involved, and they really saw me grow and come to be more of myself because of Team Beauty, because I was so excited for everybody. They were excited for me. They didn't see me just getting home and running to my room and hiding. They saw me out, socializing with people, wanting to talk with people. Now my little sister hates going to Walmart with me because I will talk to anybody and everybody. She's like, Jennifer, why are you doing that? I'm like, because one, I know them. And when I want to get to know more people, and that's something, it took me so long to do that, because I would walk in with my head down, my arms crossed so nobody could see me, and I wanted in and out. Now I walk with my head held high. I want to talk and say hi to people. I love, just the other day we were at a restaurant and a girl, she was wearing a beautiful dress. And I told her, I was like, you look so pretty. I love your dress. And her response was, thank you. You don't know how much I needed that. And that's when she went inside, I looked to my mom, my sister, and I said, that's why I do what I have to do. You don't know what anybody's going through. It can be the smallest thing. It can be something major. Your actions can change that person's day for the better or the worse, depending on what you do about it. Mm-hmm. I'd rather make somebody smile and feel good about themselves, as well as what everybody has done for me here. Y'all did that for me, and I love doing that for strangers. It's that smile that they get after talking to me that fulfills my day.
What is it that you could share with everybody? You know, I'm sure somebody's listening and they're suffering from a loss. They're suffering from lack of confidence, self-esteem. You know, I'm pretty sure they have a scar in their life that has, you know, maybe dimmed the light or took them away from who they really are wholly, right? Yes. And so how do you start doing that? I'm somebody that, you know, I'm listening. I'm like, okay, but, you know, how do I start doing that? What would you give them as action steps so they could start that process for themselves of maybe they don't have 52 flyers. Maybe they don't have the 52 flyers yet, right? And they're not going to go collect them. But, you know, what would you say that they start to do to, you know, be that strong person, to gain the courage to create that transformation from the inside out? So it doesn't matter if their scars are internal or external, they could truly be themselves and start to live their best life.
The first thing is, I really had to learn that it's okay to cry. If you need to, cry and let it out. Do not hold your feelings in, because I was doing that. And it seemed like nothing was ever getting solved. I was just getting more depressed, even more angry with my situation. Mm-hmm. Once I started just to let myself cry, whether it's in the shower, you do it by yourself, it's okay. It is okay to let those feelings out. I am not one to read, but actually I find a comfort in it now. I look for those books, the self-help books. Mm-hmm. I have bad anxiety and depression. I started with those books first, and I listen to them when I'm driving rather than music, and I actually see the difference. A song can really change your attitude for the day and your mood. Driving to work, I wouldn't really understand why I felt that way until I started listening to podcasts and self-help, and I was happier. And slowly I started to realize it was because of what I was listening to. Another thing is, I had to change the people I was surrounding myself with, and that was a big one. Once I started doing better for myself, I noticed the negativity towards me was more, and I didn't understand, because they wanted me to do better for myself. At least that's what I thought, until I did. So if you have those people that are kind of holding you back and kind of telling you, no, it's okay to feel that way. You can feel that way because this happened to you. Mm-hmm. I used to hear that all the time, and I was like, well, they're saying it's okay, so I can act this way.
Like they actually gave you the pity party, or allowed you to be a victim.
Yes.
And allowed you to stay small, per se.
Yes. That's when I had to tell myself, no, it is not okay. It is not okay for me to be angry and to lash out at somebody because I am hurt, because of what I went through. And it wasn't okay. I found out I was a toxic person doing it that way. And that's hard to say. I thought about it. And when it finally came to light, I realized I was the toxic person in a lot of my relationships. It was really hard for me to say it out loud, mm-hmm. until I finally said, you know what, it needs to come out. So I told my mom first, and I apologized. I had to. I told her, no matter what, I love you, Mom. but it's not okay for you to say it's okay that I am lashing out at you because of what I went through. I was, in a sense, using the closest people and the ones that were helping me as punching bags. And that wasn't okay. It was not. So I had to be honest with myself and them. And I did. I talked to them each. I called them up. One was my mom. One was my sponsor. One was my sister. And I told them, and I was like, I just want you to know I'm the toxic person in this relationship, and I'm sorry. And that's a big thing that people need to realize is sometimes you can be that toxic person. It's okay as long as you find a way to let it come out and to deal with it. I realized I wasn't doing my personal development. I realized that I was taking their advice and them being so nice and being there to help me for granted. And I wasn't treating them the way they were treating me. But in my mind, it was, but it's okay because you went through this. They'll understand. They know you lash out because this goes. It wasn't okay. It was just me giving myself that excuse. So I had to, and I did. I wrote down in a notebook. I wrote down the excuses I was telling myself.
What were those?
I was telling myself that it was okay to be in my feelings and lash out at people when it wasn't. It was okay that if I didn't want to go to work, I could stay home. I was telling myself, oh, you don't need to work out. It's okay. You don't want to. You don't feel good. You're in your head. I was using my anxiety and my depression as an excuse instead of using it as now what I say, it's a superpower. I can work through it every day. Being happy in the morning and ending my day happy, I beat what everyone is telling me that I have and is what is wrong with me. I don't want to be looked at that person as, this is wrong with you, that's why you are. No. You say it's wrong with me. I will show you that I'm going to persevere and I'm going to be better than that. And doing that has really helped. I tell myself every day, I'm bigger than my anxiety. I'm bigger than my depression. I'm a great mom. I'm a great daughter, and I'm a great friend. And I've chose to prove that to everybody. I'm going to show my mom that I am the daughter that she knew she had. I'm going to show my sponsor that I am that friend that she gained in the beginning and not the person that I became. I'm going to show my son that God gave him to me for a reason. I will be that person for people just like they have been for me. And that's the biggest thing that I have learned in the past, actually 3 months.
Wow, Jen. Definitely many takeaways that you've shared, and this vulnerability of being able to accept frees you.
And it does. It really did. I feel lighter, and I don't feel like when I walk in the room, I don't feel like I have that cloud around me anymore. I feel like I can be that person to lift someone up. I feel so much better. I needed to get it off my chest, but I had to be truthful with myself first, and that's something I wasn't doing.
Yeah, to have the courage, right, to walk up to somebody that you love and care, because at the end of the day, you love and care about all these people.
Yes.
But, you know, it was being able to face yourself first.
Yes. Nobody wants to tell their own self, look at you in the mirror and be like, you're the toxic person. Nobody wants to do that. But it's something that I knew I needed to do. And it's so weird because I was actually in the car and I was crying over something that I had did, but I turned the situation around to somebody else. And I just yelled it out loud. I was like, you're the toxic person. It's you. You're the one doing this. When I did it, I immediately stopped crying. My heart stopped hurting. And I was like, that's all it took, was being honest with myself.
What have these scars brought, Miss Jennifer Lawson? Some huge scars in your life, but you know, you being able to share with us here on the podcast is very admirable, that you get to be so open about something so big. And I know that there is somebody listening out there that is going through something maybe not as hard, right? But they're going through something hard. They're having the struggle and they're thinking, right? Like, how do I get through this? Or maybe after this podcast, they might think, ugh, what am I even complaining about, right? Like, I can do this. What is it that you have there on your arm?
It says,
she says, I am strong. I will not fail. And that is the message for all of you this week. You are strong. You will not fail. You are powerful. You are beautiful, right? And we're going to leave you the link. I think we should leave them the link.
Yes.
What do you think? To the song, because everybody is beautiful, and I believe that God has still big plans for your life, and you're somebody that is inspiring many women, inspiring many people to continue in their journey, to keep at it. And so before we end, anything else that you want to share with all of our listeners?
Don't be scared to talk to somebody, because I was. That's the biggest thing. Don't be scared to talk to somebody. Let your emotions out. And just know you're not the only one struggling. Everybody is. It doesn't matter how small, how big. Just let it out. I promise you will feel so much better. And I hope that something I said today resonated with you. And I hope you all loved what I had to say too.
Make sure you tag Jennifer on her Instagram, and she'll be sharing throughout the weekend our Team Beauty official Instagram. Tag us, let us know how this was valuable for your life, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.